So guys, Pathfinder currently in Apex is in a very interesting spot, right? Because his pick rate is still really high. He still has, I would say, a lot of effectiveness in game, and people still enjoy playing Pathfinder, but he still doesn't have quite a good passive in game. I recently had the chance to interview the life balance designer at Respawn. His name is John Larson, aka J Beebs. Basically what he said is that, you know, based on Pathfinder's pick rate being so high right now and him still having such effectiveness in game, a new Pathfinder passive isn't really a priority for Respawn, which kind of makes sense because there's so many other things Respawn could put their time and attention towards. But I mean, for other path mains out there who wanted to see Pathfinder get some more love and finally get a brand new passive, that could have been a bit discouraging to hear, right? But all hope isn't lost, guys. We still have hope for a potential Pathfinder passive, a new passive coming very soon. He did say that Respawn is still in the process of, like, you know, coming up with ideas, and you know, they also are open to taking ideas from the Apex community as well. So that's basically the point of this video right here. I want to kind of give you guys some of my ideas for a brand new Pathfinder passive, and also I want you guys to leave your comments down below. How would you go about giving Pathfinder a new passive if you had the ability to? Leave your comments down below. Respawn is watching. Respawn is watching, so leave your comments down below. So when it comes to Pathfinder's passive, there's actually so much that Respawn could do. I think first of all, I feel like one of the most obvious passive ideas for Pathfinder would be to allow him to basically reel back in or like retract his ziplines. Only his ziplines do. This obviously would make Pathfinder's zipline a bit stronger, his ultimate a bit stronger, because he can now like really be a lot more strategic and stuff when using it. And I actually did mention this in my interview with John Larson, guys, and basically what he said is that Respawn is very wary of making ultimate abilities or giving legends abilities that don't have that much risk. And I feel like if Pathfinder has this, you know, passive, then players won't really have to think too much about where they're actually placing their ziplines, because they could just reel it back in and, you know, take it away.
Like, does he have like less of an accuracy penalty on ziplines, or can he heal on ziplines? But it's like that would just be a straight up buff to him.
I mean, that's a buff kind of.
Yeah, right? I like the fact that enemies can take ziplines. I mean, ziplines are fun, and I think there's interesting gameplay around thinking about where you're placing your zips and understanding if people can like rotate behind you and take those.
I think the only reason players were like suggesting removing his zipline, only Pathfinder zipline, was because they made the argument that, well, Wraith Portal disappears eventually. They said how Horizon's a queue, but then again, players can't take Wraith Portal, they can also take Horizon's queue, but it just has like a limit to how long it stays up. So the only reason why I think Respawn may not do this is because it kind of takes away the risk factor of actually using a zipline if a team can't just follow you and you can just take it away and reel it back in. So I kind of understand why Respawn doesn't want to give Pathfinder this, but Respawn could also do something else. They could basically allow Pathfinder and maybe his teammates as well to move faster while on ziplines. I mean, considering that Pathfinder is all about his grapple and ziplines and being quick, and you know, his mobility is so important in Apex, making him move faster on ziplines to me is a really good passive idea. And not just his ziplines alone, but like every single zipline on the map, he should be able to move faster. It does sound like a very, you know, promising passive for him to have. And the reason I said that Pathfinder and his teammates should have this ability is because Respawn really wants to keep the core like team play essence of Apex. So it doesn't really make sense, to be honest, why Pathfinder's teammates would have the ability to move faster on ziplines as well. But I mean, it just sounds good, and I think it would work really good as a new passive ability for Pathfinder. What do you guys think? Also guys, what about giving Pathfinder the ability to actually see when enemies are taking his ziplines? Pathfinder is also a recon legend, right? So this kind of gives, you know, him and his teammates a bit more information on what's going on, and it only makes sense that he should be able to see if an enemy team is using his zipline, right? So basically what Respawn could do is just give Pathfinder a very simple audio cue saying that somebody is taking the zipline, or also they can actually put the enemy team on the minimap for Pathfinder and his teammates to see. That way it's a lot more, you know, visible, and you can actually track where the enemies are because of it. It just adds a little bit of, you know, extra effectiveness in the zipline, because now you can actually see if an enemy is taking it. So this is a good idea as well. What do you guys think about that? I don't really see the issue if Respawn were to actually give Pathfinder this ability, because as I said, it's not too strong, it's not too weak. It's kind of like a perfect passive right now, I would say, for Path. So that's all of my like main ideas on how to buff Pathfinder's passive, guys. But again, what do you think? Leave your thoughts down below. There's so many things that Respawn could do, and you guys leaving your feedback in the comment section down below is always really helpful as well. Now, with all that said, right, the real question is, does Pathfinder even really need to have a new passive in game? I would say yes, Pathfinder does need a new passive, because I feel like it doesn't matter how effective a legend is already, every legend should have a very unique and sensible passive that fits into their kit. So yeah, I would agree. I think Pathfinder does need to have a passive, because it's just the design of Apex. Every legend needs to have a passive that makes sense. I also saw some comments basically saying that Respawn should not be looking at pick rate and stuff when they're trying to make any buffs or any nerfs. Yes and no, because first of all, if a legend is being picked a lot, like they're the number one, for example Wraith, right, you don't want to make any crazy buffs, because of course players already gravitate into Wraith, which does mean that she has some kind of effectiveness and, you know, place in the meta. So of course in that scenario it does make sense for Respawn to look at a character's pick rate before making any serious changes. But there are different scenarios where legends just need to get, you know, a change, a nerf, a buff, and it doesn't even really matter their pick rate, because it's just kind of like a sensible thing to do. So it depends on the scenario. I mean, I'm very interested to see what Respawn does with Pathfinder. We'll see very soon, maybe in season 12, maybe season 13, who knows. But I mean, I'm still having fun playing Pathfinder, and he's still very, very effective in game, so I'm not really too worried about a new Pathfinder passive coming soon. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in some more Apex. Till next time.